Hey Edson, it's Mayor Kevin Zahara on this Tuesday with another Town of Edson COVID-19 update. First with the numbers. Yesterday, the provincial government finally released local numbers once again as they've been dealing with some technical issues with their online dashboard. We got some good and some bad news. The good news is the case count isn't growing. The bad news is that we had a death in our community due to COVID-19. Our sincerest, heartfelt thoughts and prayers and condolences going out to the family and the friends of the individual that passed away. It's so sad to see in our community, something that I was hoping never to have happen here in Edson, but unfortunately we're in a situation where that has occurred. So we're thinking about the family, and to those that are still dealing with COVID-19, we hope for a speedy recovery. We have 2 active cases right now in the Edson region, and we have 3 that have recovered, a total of 6 so far to date. I just want to run through the regional numbers here. Jasper has 1 active case, Hinton's down to 0. There are 16 in the Yellowhead County. That includes the 2 here in Edson. So that brings that number down to 14. And those 14 cases are on the east end of Edson due to an outbreak at a seniors facility. Unfortunately, with that 16 number, that has pushed us into a watch status here in the Yellowhead County, Edson area. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. Whitecourts went from 8 cases last week up to 21 this week, which is a concern. Drayton Valley has 11 cases. Rocky Mountain House, Clearwater County has 6. Mayerthorpe has 35. Once again, they have an outbreak in one of their facilities in the Mayerthorpe area. So that's the regional breakdown. In the province, we had 644 new cases reported yesterday. There are 7,965 active. That includes 3,175 in the Edmonton zone, 192 in the hospital, and 39 in the ICU, which is a big increase from just last week. Last week, there were 30 active cases in the ICU. As of yesterday, there was 39. Of course, healthcare capacity is a concern as we're dealing with this pandemic. I mentioned earlier, we are in a watched or an enhanced status due to the case count in the Yellowhead County, Edson area. That means we have a 15-person limit on social and family gatherings. These are provincial rules. And this includes indoor and outdoors where people are mixing and mingling. Applies to all social gatherings, including but not limited to banquets and award ceremonies, wedding and funeral receptions, luncheons and potlucks, parties, birthday parties, backyard barbecues, other private and social functions. There are some exemptions. It does not apply to places where you're seated, such as conferences, sports, and shows. So if there isn't mixing and mingling and appropriate physically distancing measures are in place, that does not apply for those seated events, dining in restaurants, funeral services, wedding ceremonies, and worship services. You can find further details on edson.ca /COVID-19 if you want further details on that. There's also some voluntary measures that are highly recommended, strongly recommended. That includes limiting your cohorts to no more than 3 and wearing a mask in all indoor work settings, except if you're alone in a workspace or have a barrier that is up to protect you and the other individuals that might be in the place of business. I want to thank all the businesses that are taking those extra precautionary measures at this time. And to all the individuals and citizens that are wearing masks and taking that appropriate precaution, really, really great to see. Edson, we got to just keep vigilant and keep up those efforts. Of course, physically distancing. Please don't be hosting parties. Those are the biggest spreading events right now that we're seeing in the data. So limit those gatherings to 15 people or less, and hand sanitization, and stay home if you are sick. Tomorrow is Remembrance Day, and the Edson Royal Canadian Legion have been organizing and working hard on putting ceremonies in place for tomorrow. Due to us being on watch status and what's going on with COVID-19, they are asking everybody to stay at home. They are going to live stream the ceremonies live on the Royal Canadian Legion Edson Facebook page. We'll post a link in the comments below, and please just watch it from your own home, and let's pay our respects to those that have fought for our country and our freedoms that we enjoy today. And that I want to just say thank you to the Royal Canadian Legion for all their efforts in this regard. It's not going to be the same, and that's rather unfortunate, but that's where we are today with what's going on with COVID-19. Before I leave you, Council will be having a committee of the whole meeting tonight. One of the topics on the agenda is a pilot project that's being brought forward by the Edson Friendship Center, the Edson District Recycling Society, as well as other partners to deal with what's going on with COVID-19 and the homeless population. Last year, you may recall, we had the Out of the Cold Homeless Initiative, where we had a trailer where homeless individuals could go to stay warm overnight when temperatures drop below a certain level. With COVID, of course, there are the physically distancing requirements, and the trailer, while it was great and it was a good measure, it's not ideal. It's a confined space, especially with COVID, concerns with that. I know Alberta Health Services had concerns with it, but we felt it was necessary to proceed and do something last winter to help the homeless population. We have anywhere between 50 and 80 homeless right now in our community. So a pilot project is being presented to Town Council tonight at Committee of the Whole, and it's called Shelter Pod. And what is being proposed is that one of the buildings at the Recycling Society where you put your plastics will be converted into basically separate different pods with keypads on there where individual homeless can go and sleep for the night when it gets cold outside. It really is a better longer term solution. It would be heated. Everyone would have a secure space. There'd be fire retardant sprayed within these facilities, smoke detectors. Alberta Health Services has signed off on this. They're in favor, the RCMP as well. And really a great community partnership. So Council will hear that presentation tonight. You can watch it online at edson.ca. And then Council will decide whether or not we want to endorse it and move forward with it and how we're going to support that initiative. But really, it's people working together to try to address an issue which is so important in our community. It is getting colder outside, and we have to think about what we're going to do for that vulnerable population within our community. They are currently, many of those individuals are sleeping inside the recycling depot. They have been doing that for years, crawling inside the bins. Not really safe to do that. So this would be a little bit more secure and a good location. I know there's always people that don't want this sort of thing around their homes. This is a good area to have something like this. So I look forward to the presentation tonight. I know Council's looking forward to it as well. You can watch that online at edson.ca. Edson, I'll have a further update for you on Thursday. Take care. Keep doing what you're doing, Edson, and have a great Remembrance Day, and let's support our veterans tomorrow.